Hey guys, this is Jessica. Welcome back to my channel, The Retro Farmhouse. Today I'm going to be working on a project where I show you guys how to rejuvenate or kind of redo those vintage faceplates that I found. So you can do this with any type of antique hardware. These did not come with the knob, so that's something that I will have to get, but I did end up using a product as well that'll be able to help me to kind of make those pieces more cohesive. You can usually find a lot of these type of pieces off of eBay, but this also works for hinges, anything like that. So come along with me today and let me show you how I do that. So the first thing I did with these little face plates here, they had like about 2 to 3 layers of paint on them. I'm gonna go ahead and put those in my crock pot to try to remove this paint. This usually works for any kind of hardware, and I'm using this little metal container. You can usually pick these up in the dollar store. I recommend doing this and not putting it straight in your crock pot because you don't know what kind of paint or any chemicals that are on this. I'm just adding a little bit of soapy water to this, and I'm gonna make sure that when I place my face plates in there that they're completely submerged. And then I'm just gonna put this on low and let it sit at least 8 hours or maybe overnight, and then I will recheck it. From here, I'm just using some gloves. You can see some of my paint is already peeling off, and this really helps to get paint off of anything if you've got hinges or anything like that. It did take a little bit of work to get some of the paint off depending on what type of paint it is. I feel like latex paint tends to come off a little bit better, but after a while I was able to get most of this paint off. Another method that you could use is a heat gun. I purchased mine at Harbor Freight for about 15 bucks, and a lot of them have different settings on them. And I'm just applying this outside. I use this tool outside. I don't like to use it indoors, but I will apply it on there, hold it for a few seconds, and as soon as I start seeing the paint bubble off, I will take a scraper. I used also a little flathead screwdriver and just lightly peeled this off. I didn't want to press down too hard because I didn't want to scratch the surface of my metal, but I did use some gloves and recommend that if you're kind of holding this down, scraping this off, just remember when you're heating metal up, it's going to heat it up as well. Just want to take caution with this tool and make sure you educate yourself really well on how to use it. I feel like for the type of hardware that you have, if it has a lot of details in it, the heat gun really did work a lot better for me as I was able to kind of get that out of these small little grooves. Next, I'm going to take my hardware here and I want to clean it really good. So what I'm going to use is some Barkeeper's Friend. This stuff has been around forever and it's really good to use here. And I'm just going to sprinkle some on here and then just take a little brush, like it could be a nail brush or an old toothbrush or something you're not really going to use again, you can toss away. And I'm just going to scrub this several times. I scrubbed it for a few minutes and then I would rinse it off, and then I would reapply some more powder, and then I would clean it again. And this did take a little bit of time. It does take some process just to kind of get some of the shinier aspects back to your hardware, but a lot of times this will rebring the original patina back out. Now on some of these, depending on what yours is made out of, it could be made out of steel. They just were made out of a lot of different materials. So just if you want to make sure to see what the chemical is going to do, just flip it over to the back side and maybe do a little test patch. For this next method, I saw this used by Paige on Farmhouse Vernacular. I absolutely love her channel. If you guys like vintage or anything like that, definitely go over and follow her. I will put her link below. But she used some rub and buff on some of her things that she was bringing back to life. So I really wanted to try that on these face plates. I don't like spray painting anything like that, but I'm using the one in antique gold. They make 3 different ones: gold leaf, silver, and antique gold. And I eventually will want to put these on some of my doors that I'll end up replacing in my house. And I kind of want them to match, because sometimes you don't have, you know, the hardware, it looks similar, but it's not always going to match completely. And this is just kind of going to help pull everything together, especially when I eventually get the knobs. The knobs did not come from this hardware that I purchased, and I'll end up using this rub and buff on that as well. But it's really easy to apply. I just took a lint-free rag, and little goes a long way. You don't want very much, just use a little bit of a dab, and I just rub it all over here really good, and then it dries pretty quickly, and you can kind of buff it to make it a little bit more shinier. And I'll add a link below where I get this. I just purchased mine off of Amazon. And here's how today's project turned out. I really love how I was able to bring some new life to these vintage face plates. They look maybe similar to what they would have looked when they were first manufactured, and this was also a neat way to make them more cohesive with other ones that I tend to pick up here and there. And if you guys got some vintage items like this as well, hopefully this helps you to repurpose those items and kind of clean them up and make them new again. If you guys liked today's project, don't forget to hit the like button, as well as share my video. That really helps to grow my channel. And we'll see you guys again for our next DIY.